All right, we're here. Um, Second beer of tonight to review of two beers I had to review tonight. How strange. This is another newish IPA style. It was around 2018. It was invented basically at was it Wayfinder Brewing? I think I got that right. Should write these things down. But this is from Propeller. This is their take on it. It is their Summit Cold IPA. Now, what is cold IPA? Basically, an IPA that is brewed with a lager yeast and fermented at lager temperatures, so colder than usual. And this is done to make it crisper, to make it a easier drinking beer. It's just another way to like make IPAs less hostile to the palate, I guess. Is kind of what they're doing here. Make a more easily drinking IPA. But the difference being here, and Paul just brings up something I was going to mention. So, like, what's the difference between this and an IPL? The big difference is that when they do cold brew IPAs, or cold IPAs, I mean, whatever you want to call them, they'll use like Pilsner malt, but they'll also use like adjuncts. They'll use like rice or corn, something along those lines to like go towards that kind of Budweiser mouthfeel, that kind of clarity that you'll get from like a Budweiser. Whereas, opposed to like a regular IPL or just like a super sessionable IPA, they'll still probably end up using caramel malts for the most part. So they'll be, they'll be darker, they'll be heavier, they'll be more mouthfeel. Here they're trying to like knock that shit down, I guess, is basically what they're saying. So Propeller says on their can here, and this is 6.1%, if I didn't say that. Moderate IPA showcasing the exploratory HBC 586 hop. And I don't need to know the flavors. And it says basically a cooler fermentation and light body leads to a brisk and clean finish. So yeah, it kind of cuts the finish a little bit too. And Paul says if it's a lager yeast, I'd still have to call it an IPL. Yeah, I mean it's basically it's made as an ale just with lager yeast, basically. I mean, but yeah, it's really splitting hairs, I guess. I think it's more of a marketing thing. As I said in the previous video I did tonight, it's like if you brew like a brute / sparkling IPA, and it doesn't really have any characteristics that you would think of for an IPA, then is it still an IPA really? Like at that point, it's just like a sparkling ale, whatever that is. But you're putting IPA on the label to sell more, right? Because IPA instantly has a better chance of selling to people. That it's just a word, it's just a term now that can be universally used. So, yeah, who knows? But we're gonna pour it here. Usually these use some sort of one of the big C hops like Cascade or Columbus or some. I need to look up this hop before we go anywhere else. I just need to check this. HBC 586. Experimental hop variety with the hop breeding company, which is joint venture. I don't need to know that. I just need to know what it's supposed to be. Oh, it's a hybrid pollination of the mother YCR21. Everyone knows that hop. And the male number 01238-2. Oh, the famous one and all the beers we love. But I guess it gives like a melody of fruit flavors. It doesn't look. It says maybe sulfur and herbal notes as well. Okay, that's interesting. So it's not just juice bomb hop. It's got some. It's got some variation there. It's you can stretch out and get different things. Spicy aroma. Okay, this might be promising. Much like everyone calling their boring IPAs and New England IPAs. Yeah. The ones where they knock down all the bitterness and it's just a goddamn. Paul says grapefruit, tangerine, floral, and peppery. Yeah. See, I like that side of things, right? Like, if you want to give me a fruity hop that's within those sort of boundaries, I can dig that. But if you're just giving me straight up like pineapple, mango, guava, coconut bullshit, I'm less inclined to like it. Anyway, let's look at this fucker. So that's a little teeny bit darker than the last beer I did tonight, but it's still got that. And then, of course, it looks darker on the camera, as I always say. But it's got more of that lighter kind of color that you would expect to get out of like a Pilsner malt or something like that, right? Like it's definitely lighter than what you would expect from an IPA. Not much head going on there. Let's go to the aroma. Ooh. So it has got a sweet smell to it. Sweet and fruity. I'd say it's touching on tropical. So let's see what it actually does say here. Well, the mango and guava, yeah. Okay, so I'm kind of getting that. I don't know what lychee is supposed to smell like, so you have to forgive me there, but it is in that tropical range, but it, at least mango and guava kind of little less offensive to my nose and my taste buds than say like a straight up like pineapple or anything like that. It doesn't smell terrible, although I'd say it's a little too aggressively fruity. Like it kind of just like, oh, this might be Oasis fruit juice of some sort, right? Some sort of cocktail. Cheers. Let's try the taste. Lots of mango. A little bit of guava coming up. Very dry in the back. It finishes kind of clean. The dryness is lingering, but not super. This at least comes off like an IPA. I'll give it that. There's a dryness and a bitterness to it that goes like, okay, yes, IPA. And Paul says, sounds like a summer ale, but made in the winter. Yeah. Propeller's been doing that lately, man. Them and some other breweries I've run into, I don't know what it is where, oh, we'll make all these fruity, weird IPAs, but it's winter. Like, I mean, I'm not a big time stickler for, oh, you can only have stouts in the winter and you need like lighter beers in the summer. I'm not necessarily on that bullshit train, but it doesn't seem like breweries should have that kind of same thought process. I figure, like, when it comes to marketing, you want to market to as many normies as you can as well. And maybe you should have your seasonals, kind of structured a little better. But I don't know. Propeller just kind of, they seem to like, they're in like a weird growth stage, like they're basically a regional brewery now. They're not just the small timers they used to be, but they still got like limited tank space, it feels like, for the amount of shit they're making all the time. Like they make so many variations on stuff. And so many different like little one-offs and shit like that now that some of their, I noticed some of like their seasonals either just get totally dropped or they come out in weird times. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, this is, I'd say it balances the sweetness of the fruit with the kind of little punch of dryness and bitterness in the back that kind of, quickly kind of goes away. It doesn't linger super long. So it does drink kind of clean. It is kind of refreshing. It's not on the sparkling. I Paul says, hope their RIS is still good. It is still good. I've got 3 cans of it right now downstairs. It's a basic bitch imperial stout, but it's still a really good one. I'm glad they brought back the Bolshevik Star or whatever the fuck. Because for a while there, they were just, here's our imperial stout with a drab gray can, and it all sucks now all of a sudden. And it was like noticeably not quite as good, even though they swore it was the same recipe. Call bullshit on that one. But yeah, now they got the Russian Revolution name back, and they got the star. The only thing I miss, and it's one of those few instances where I prefer to have it in bottles. I understand the canning is just going to be better for transportation and weight and all that stuff, but I'd still love to get those old kind of like potato masher grenade looking fucking bottles that they used to have for those. And of course, you could, the aging process is a little bit better with the bottles. At least I tend to believe it is. Anyway, back to this thing. It's all right. I think what boils down to for this style, and like I said, this with the champagne or the sparkling brute thing from Moosehead I did earlier. It's kind of all comes down to what you put in it hop wise. This sort of style, unlike the brute one, it lends itself to being a little bit more open for hop flavors to shine through if you're going to put a bunch of hops in it. And it does give you a pretty clean hop profile on the whole fucking drink. I will say that. It's fine though. Like depending on what hops they put in this, I might have a totally night and day reaction to this thing. Like if they had made this super juice bomb like New England style, I probably would have had a hate on for it, honestly. But as it sits, it's kind of sits in that midpoint where it's like I'm kind of okay with it because it's not super tropical, super juicy, and it's got some good bitterness to it. Style wise, is this even really a style? I don't know. I don't even know if it's officially recognized as a style, honestly. I know there's some around, but I don't know if any official bodies kind of recognize the style. I'll be safe and throw a 7. I'm sure there's room for improvement there, right? We got CB Fall saying honest review, Lee. Well, I try. Thank you. Hope you're doing well, CB. So yeah, I'll throw a 7 for style. My own personal preference, there's nothing bad about it, but it's nothing that excites me about it either. I'd throw a 6 at it. It's another one of those ones of where someone handed it to me, I would drink it, but I will never actively go out and buy this again. That's just, it's just, it doesn't do it for me. It doesn't work for me, brother. Hulk Hogan ain't putting this one over, brother. God. Well, let me tell you something, brother. CB Fall saying, I am doing greatly. Thanks so much for asking me. So yeah, that's the review. I went on way too long for this, 15 minutes. But I got into conversation and I was talking to Paul, so that's good. Yeah, anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're watching live or you watch this later tonight or whatever, and or just enjoy your day if you're watching this days, weeks, months, years from now. If you're, in the year 2525, when mankind was fighting to survive, or however that fucking song goes, good luck against your robot overlords. But I am going to kick out of here. Goodbye.